What's good, football fans? Back at you once again with another video. And today I wanted to sit down and take a look at Andrew Wylie, the offensive lineman that we signed from the Kansas City Chiefs. And with us bringing Eric Bieniemy on board this year, it says a lot to me that we went out and got this guy in free agency. I try not to base everything on stats, but it's kind of hard not to look at the stats from his 2022 season when Andrew Wylie gave up 9 sacks and 42 quarterback pressures. Packed inside those numbers is the fact that we know that Patrick Mahomes moves around a lot in the pocket. With that said, let's just dive right in, look at this tape, and I want to start off looking at Wylie's matchup against Nick Bosa. Now, while Wylie had some success, I think Bosa got the best of the situation. On this first play right here, you can see it's a running play to the inside, but you can see Wylie tries to grab that outside against Bosa, and Bosa just terrorizes him around that edge and then makes the tackle. He is a guy coming off the edge around 2 different defenders, and he's able to get low enough to the ground where he was able to get around and actually make the tackle. If you watch it from the other angle, you can't quite see, the wraparound he does, but you can definitely see that he beats Wylie around the edge. That's actually completely ridiculous. A grown man should not be able to twist like that, stay that low to the ground, and make a play like that around another 300-pound grown-ass man trying to stop him doing it, Look at that. He just does that with ease. Now, Wylie by nature is a guard, and I don't really think there's any debating that. Last year was the first time that he'd played tackle in his entire career, so it's something that was new to him. And you could kind of see that, especially in a play like this right here, where he just did not slide his feet out enough. And Nick Bosa, really took advantage of that in this matchup. This was a nightmare matchup right here for Andrew Wylie against Nick Bosa. Bosa is so good coming off of that edge, and he really comes and kind of spreads it all the way out, whereas Wylie just doesn't slide out enough and tries to stay inside too much, and his feet are just not set up in the correct place. Lucky enough for Andrew Wylie in this situation and for the Kansas City Chiefs, their quarterback was able to get the ball out quick enough. As you see there, 97 was inbound, and when you watch it from the other angle, you'll get a really good look at just how badly he really did beat Andrew Wylie around that edge there. And Bosa does that to a lot of players. It's not just Wylie in this situation or just a handful of players in the NFL. This guy does this week in and week out, and it's all about hand placement. If you see his hands in there just slapping him, just pop, pop, pop. It's almost like these guys are having some form of kung fu or something. It's just hand-to-hand combat, like slap, 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 and he's around the edge already. I absolutely love it when the guy that's game planning for your team sees a weakness that you have, but game plans for that weakness to actually become a strength. In this situation right here, they're having problems, containing Bosa. So they do a play where they absolutely just let him through the line unscathed, untouched, thinking that he's about to blow something up, but the play's already passed him by. The ball's already moving out of there. And this is a play that really just lines up perfectly. And Andrew Wylie really is, the mainstay of that lead block that opens it up, that gets the things going there. It's a great play to call at that moment. Perfect execution. I'm not really the biggest fan of these jet sweep type plays, but that one was just a perfect timing, perfect situation. And Wylie did his job on that pull there. He made the block that opened up that inside, and then he sealed it. Touchdown. On this particular play right here, I noticed that Wylie had a problem with the bull rush. 94 from San Francisco comes off of that edge and just pushes him right into Patrick Mahomes, which causes Mahomes to throw a nasty little pass there. Probably would have been a first down had that not happened. Watch it again one last time here. Just pushes him right up into him, and that's something that you can't get many plays taken care of if your tackle's getting pushed into your quarterback. Just a second ago, I showed a situation where Wylie didn't open his feet up enough when he was, getting into position over there at right tackle. In this situation right here, he opens it up too much, and Bosa actually is able to spin back into that gap and almost gets his hands on Mahomes there as well. Now, this actually, from what I saw on a lot of his film throughout the year, became a reoccurring theme here. A lot of teams are really able to get in there and make light of that and really take advantage of that being one of his weaknesses. Bosa is just a freak. Obviously, this guy does this to a lot of people, as I was saying a little bit ago. But this could be a problem in the future for Wylie. Again, here on this play, another good scheme play where they are seeing Bosa kind of going to that edge, really strong, over-aggressive, so to speak. And Andrew Wylie's able to just kind of step over there, give him a tiny little shove, and it just widens that gap for their running back to run through and get that touchdown. And it is the block from Wylie that springs the play open, honestly. And he really doesn't do a whole lot. He just pushes the man off. Everything else lines right up. This delayed stunt right here really almost catches Andrew Wylie with his pants down big time. And once again, Kansas City can be thankful that they have Mahomes, who is basically a magician back there with the way that he's able to move around and get rid of the ball. And sometimes you just have to wonder how this guy does not get clobbered on like 80% of the plays that he does, because he holds onto the ball probably the longest of anybody. He holds onto it to the very last second. It's like he's waiting for the defense to mess up or for just something to jump out there perfect to happen or something to that nature. I don't know. It just really appears like he holds the ball, and he seems like he kind of scrambles into pressure a lot too. It's almost like he's trying to make them, overexert themselves so he could cut back inside or whatever the case may be. I've noticed that a lot watching this film. And you had to know that when I was talking about Wylie not opening his feet up or opening his feet up too much, that eventually this right here was going to happen, that Nick Bosa was going to, hit home and get a sack. You had to know eventually it was going to happen. And when he goes around the tackle there, it's like he's almost at like a 75-degree angle. And those offensive linemen can't keep up with a guy like that, especially in Andrew Wylie's situation where maybe he's not opening up his feet enough in that tackle spot. Maybe he's used to the way that guards do it more, and maybe he would actually benefit more sliding inside. I'm not so certain there, but Nick Bosa just, he does that with ease. And it's all about handwork there for him too, the placement of his hands, the speed coming off that edge for him. And Wylie's mismatched to begin with. Obviously, the object for him is to try to get rid of the ball before the pocket collapses too much. And as I said a second ago, that Mahomes holds the ball a long time, but he does that, kind of on design. So as an offensive lineman, you're kind of at his mercy. I mean, 9 times out of 10, he's going to do something wild, and you're going to get the yards you need. This is the 10th time Bosa gets his sack. And while this play right here isn't Bosa going against Wylie, same thing holds true. In this case, he just gets beat around that edge by good handwork. And the number, I believe it's number 95 there for the 49ers, he just really comes off of the line there, hitting those hands, chop, chop, hitting those hands. And he sticks his hand up at the right moment, bats the pass. This Buffalo Bills game was probably Andrew Wylie's worst game of the season. As you see right here, Shaq Lawson just starts right up at the first highlight we show here, the first film we show here. Shaq Lawson just gets his hand on Mahomes after he bull rushes his way into the backfield. Wylie obviously is not good against the bull rush. That's obviously a weakness now. We've seen it in the 2 games both I've showed. But Shaq Lawson is a talent, obviously, as well. But Wylie just can't handle the matchup here, whether it be the handwork or whatever it be. That bull rush is too much for him, and there's another sack. Interestingly enough, Von Miller almost gets him from the other direction as well. Now, Kansas City should definitely be thankful that Patrick Mahomes has a quick release right here, because this play right here could have been a safety very easily. They came around the end there, and I'm going to tell you, that stunt almost ended up being some bad stuff for Wylie. Like, that could have been 2 points very easily going the other direction. Man, they got really lucky right there because, yeah, Wylie definitely was beat. Yeah, watch it one more time. He never had a chance. You know, it wasn't that long ago that we were calling Von Miller the best edge rusher in football. And I honestly don't think that he's fallen off that much to say that he's not near the top still. Obviously, he's had some situations where he's had injuries. I was kind of surprised that he ended up with Buffalo, but as you see right here, again, Wylie is just not comfortable in that position. Opens his feet up a little bit too much. And I'm not even so certain that it's really him opening his feet up way too much there as it is. Von Miller is just a freak, you know, and Von Miller spins right off of there. Again, they're with the spin. You know, we've seen Wylie have problems with the bull rush and the spin. The spin seems to be a reoccurring theme there. Just a perfect play by Von Miller. This worries me quite a bit. This could get a quarterback hurt real bad. Now, I'm 100% certain that this play is not a designed run. So this was almost a massive just mess up by the entire offensive line here. But the guy we're looking at here, Andrew Wylie, coming off the right side here, he actually, even though he doesn't do the job he's intended to do, he actually pushes his guy out enough to where Mahomes, in his pattern of escaping, is able to get around and not get touched in the least bit by Andrew Wylie's guy. I don't know if this is exactly how I want it done, but thankfully Mahomes didn't get, nailed there either. Remember when I said something about that magic man or the magic he pulls out or whatever? I mean, Wylie is clearly beat here. Like, look at that. I mean, he's running dipsy doodles here, man. Like, Wylie's clearly beat here, but Patrick Mahomes dips to one side, dips to the other, dips the back the other way, dips about the other way, and yeah, Wylie almost has to go back and make it on the block. That's just ridiculous right there. Like, I see, I can't really be mad at Wylie there, but he's got to do a better job on the initial block of 97 coming up the center there. That is definitely not acceptable of his initial blocking there. Obviously, he's supposed to take care of that block. He got lucky once again that Patrick Mahomes and his magic act there can spin circles, and that's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, this worries me, man. I mean, I've heard some people use the word turnstile when they talk about Andrew Wylie, and I didn't want to believe him. And I'm still not saying he's a turnstile, but I'm going to tell you, he needs to get better at that. That is just not acceptable whatsoever. He has got to get his hands on that man. I know that's a big, strong man there, but yeah, man, they got lucky. And as I already stated, Von Miller is a bad man. And yeah, Andrew Wylie is just, I don't know if he's really the guy that you want out there on that edge, especially not against Von Miller. I just don't think that that's the guy you want out there on that edge, man. Like, 1 minute he's not opening his feet up enough. The next minute he's sliding out too much. Back to not enough. Short arms. I don't know, man. Is this guy really a tackle, or should this guy be slid inward? I'm not necessarily seeing this guy as the answer here, like at right tackle. I mean, like I said, I know Von Miller is a beast. I mean, but he looks like he does that with ease. I mean, it's not even a challenge. He just goes right around that man like it's nothing. Yikes. Now this play right here, they're able to keep Miller kind of down on the inside with a double team, but then the fact that they double team, the pressure opens up 58 to come at Mahomes there, and he throws the interception, man. That pressure was just enough to get Mahomes off of his mark, and he threw a pick. And you can attest that to the pressure that Von Miller and then 58 put. Now in this play right here, I'm going to have to give Wylie his props here because his man actually puts a pretty nasty little swim move on him and almost gets around him. But Andrew Wylie's able to use his hands and get back into form and get his guy. And obviously, something I've already touched on before, Kansas City, you know, they got the magic man back there. He's able to move around in the pocket. You know, I've never seen anybody take the type of pressure that this guy takes. It's almost like he feeds off of pressure. Like when he feels pressure, it's almost like, you know, it makes him do different things. I don't know. And he's not the most elusive quarterback either. Now this play right here, Wylie's able to hold his guy, but the guard lined up next to him is not. So the pressure kind of blows the play up anyway. And as you can see, it leads to Mahomes coming off his mark again and not being able to complete what he needs to complete. It appears like Wylie kind of gets a little confused during the screen pass right here. Maybe he just got knocked off of the spot he thought he was going to be at. But when number one catches the ball, McKinnon catches the ball, there's absolutely no blockers there for him at all. Like, you know, I realize you have to sell the play, but by the time the ball gets out there on the flat to him, there's no blockers. I absolutely love the blocking on this play right here between McKinnon, which I believe is number one up there, and Wylie, who's obviously wearing the 77. Watch as 94 starts to try to come inward, and McKinnon hits him with that. Oh yeah, I love that little crack block right there. I love it. Look, watch it. Bop. Oh yeah, check that out, y'all. He was already a little off, you know, there with Wylie giving him the business a little bit, and McKinnon just knocked him backwards. Like, yeah, I like that. And I've heard big things about McKinnon. People have been talking about wherever he ends up next, which, by the way, a lot of the talk is he might end up in burgundy and gold because Bieniemy loves the way that he fits. But that's a great little block right there. I like that. And then when he jumps back up, check out Wylie. Wylie puts him on his ass. Watch. He hops back up. Wylie's like, nope. And then Wylie's like, nope, playing through that whistle, which is something I like to see. See, I haven't seen a whole lot of that from Wylie on this tape, man. And I feel like he's got it in there. Like, you know, a couple times I've seen him get a little nasty and playing through the whistle. That's what I want to see right there. Play through the whistle, put that man on the turf. Here's another example. I like to see him doing this right here. This is him doing his job, blocking two men and doing a damn good job doing it. Pushes one inside and takes the outside guy and pushes him outside. Yep. Now, see, he was getting fooled with that, you know, a little while ago. Now, I realize that those are bigger guys right there trying to stun him and mess him up there, but those guys aren't able to get it off. I like to see that. Now, I made mention earlier about how it almost seems like Mahomes thrives off of quarterback pressure. Like, I'm not going to say that he wants quarterback pressure, but when he gets it, it seems like it pushes him just that extra bit more. So when I see all those pressures and hurries that Wylie, you know, were attributed to Wylie during the 2022 season, it put up a big red flag for me, you know, watching this film to start with. But when I started seeing a lot of these pressures were plays like this, you know, Andrew Wylie's blocking his guy to the outside, actually pushes him not knowing that Mahomes is going that way, tries to push him further to the outside. Mahomes obviously trying to move out of the pocket. And like I said, man, it seems like this guy just thrives on more pressure, you know, in the pocket, especially outside of the pocket. Like, it seems like if he gets pressure on the outside of the pocket, You know, sometimes he's apt to cut back inward and try to break around, you know, different guys. It's crazy seeing Patrick Mahomes doing things like that. I'd love to see Sam Howell to be able to react, you know, to what's going on and work the field that way. Now, here's a play right here where he opens his feet up as much as he's supposed to, slides out, makes the block he's supposed to make, and the guy on the other side messes up, and your quarterback gets sacked. Some things I can't come up with words on certain things, you know. This play right here was one of them. I mean, obviously, Wylie did what he was supposed to do here and, you know, kept his guy off of Mahomes as long as he could. And actually, his guy never touched Mahomes. His guy actually hit the back of the other lineman. And then Mahomes makes some kind of, I don't even know what that was, man. It's some kind of shovel pass or something there and completes the pass. That's ridiculous. I love seeing linemen just smashing, you know, defenders' faces in the mud. I absolutely love it. And look at Wylie just, boom, take that. And just, you know, just hop on them at the end. That little belly-to-belly moment, you know, like, blow, take that. Like, Big Fat Boy just gave it to you. Like, yeah, there it is. Wow. Now, obviously, we're here to see Andrew Wylie's film. You know, so I can't attest to what the other line is doing in this particular play right here. But the hand work that Wylie's using on this play was actually really, really good. And it was good to see in this film him be able to go through situations. Sometimes, you know, he wasn't so great with his feet, but it appears like he could make up with that a lot of times, or most times, with his hands. And just they barely got away there too. Pretty good protection here by Wylie. His guy kind of gets the inside seam on him a little bit there. Mahomes reads it and is able to roll out and do Mahomes things. Now, this was a really ugly rep for Andrew Wylie. He gets confused by 56, and in his brain, I think he thinks that maybe he should track him and see what he's doing, and he forgets that he's got an edge guy there, and that could have been really ugly. Your quarterback could have gotten hurt there, buddy. Stuff like this worries me because that's an obvious mistake. That's not in the scheme. That's in his brain. He's watching 56, but he's not realizing that edge is there. Something that's a breakdown somewhere. And yeah, that would scare me if I was his coach. Mahomes, thankfully, in his, you know, situation, is able to get rid of the ball fast and not take a massive hit. Man, this is just one of those plays where everybody meets at the quarterback. Wylie gets beat. The guy next to him gets beat. The guy on the other side, I believe I said Orlando Brown, he gets beat. I mean, this is just meet me at the quarterback. I mean, there's three men standing there at Mahomes at the end of that play, and 95 gets the sack, which technically isn't Andrew Wylie's guy, but, you know, I mean, look at that. That's just ridiculous, man. The Titans were just eating all of them, like eating out on this one. Now, this is definitely not a planned run. Once again, as I said a little while ago when I saw something in the film, these are not planned runs right here, but the fact that Andrew Wylie kept his man outside enough gave Mahomes enough of a pocket to be able to just run right up and get that touchdown. Now, I'm not certain that there's really a massive collection of quarterbacks in the league that are able to feed off of this play and get a touchdown from 20-some yards out. But that's the way this play ended. Much the same with this play. Wylie's able to get his guy outside just enough. Mahomes steps up. He kind of stops and does one of his little dipsy-doodle things here, and then... Now, I made mention that some of the pressures on Wylie may have came because of the way that Mahomes and his style plays. But some of these pressures are coming because, you know, he's just not athletic enough to be able to move around and guard some of these defensive players. Like in this situation right here. As 92 from the Bengals here just, you know, he just puts a hand on the man and pushes right on past him. And there's really nothing that Wylie can do in that situation. That guy is stronger than him, more agile than him, and obviously has better control of his hands and his body than he does. Again, he doesn't slide out enough on this play at all. Man goes right around him. I don't even know what he was doing there. Like, it looked like he may have like a hamstring issue or something. Got caught. It looked like he might have got caught up in the in the grass or something there, man. I hate to laugh, but just, I mean, watch when he starts kicking out. Look. He only moved 1 foot, man. And I mean, he'd have gone in the complete circle if he'd have kept going, y'all. I really ain't trying to have jokes there, man. But if the dude comes in, he's only kicking on 1 foot. If he would have kept going, he would have turned a complete circle, man. Don't mind me. Look at that. Like, yeah, I mean, what was he expecting? Like, I'm actually surprised that he didn't fall to the ground before he fell to the ground. I mean, damn. What the world's he doing there, man? He got tripped up by his own man there. I could definitely see that. This is a guy that just does not look comfortable doing the things that a tackle does. That doesn't look comfortable to me. Like, when I see an offensive tackle doing his job, that is not how I see him when he's looking comfortable in his own shoes, so to speak. Yo, I swear to you guys, I'm not trying to find something to laugh at, okay? But, you know, sometimes when you're looking at film, you don't expect to see what you see. And this is one of those times right here. What I just saw is one of those times. This play starts to develop. And number one, he starts to come out of the backfield and is heading, you know, trying to score that touchdown. And Andrew Wylie's up there, and he's trying to push, you know, his big 300-pound defensive lineman that's in front of him. He's trying to, you know, get him to one side or the other so he can open up that hole. And lo and behold, if one don't run right into the backside of 77. And let me tell you, man, that was a hell of a hit. Bow! I mean, it knocked the man completely backwards. Good Lord. I mean, that was some serious force. Bow! Good thing he held on the ball, right? That would have been another butt fumble. Now, anytime I see an offensive lineman hit two players on the same play and put at least one of them on the ground, I'm a happy guy. You know, I really am. I love to see offensive linemen put defenders on the ground. It really is a joy to me. And as you see that little bump right there, 92 hit the ground, he was able to move out on the play. And they got a decent chunk of yards there on that play. I might add that my man 77, Andrew Wylie, he got out ahead of that play and did what he was supposed to do. Again, with the Mahomes kind of like sapping up the pressure and getting strength off of it, even though they lost that game. One of the best things that I could ever see from a tackle on an offensive line is the ability to be able to pull and make the block successfully and maybe even spring a play in the process. And Andrew Wylie does a pretty good job of that on this play right here. Now, being the fact that he is a guard by nature, pulling should come rather easy for him. And it does on this play right here. I mean, everything runs perfect. They get what they were, trying to do there. A big story heading into the Super Bowl was Hassan Reddick was, he had all these, these sacks on the year, and Wylie had given up a bunch of sacks, a bunch of hurries. I think a lot of folks, especially Eagle fans, were expecting to see, the quarterback get hit a lot. And that didn't really happen the way that everybody maybe thought it was going to. And part of that's because Andrew Wylie was able to get in there and have one of his better games as a professional. And on this play right here, he shows, because Reddick really tries to put some moves on him here and tries to overpower him, and he can't get him. And they really battle it out in this game. And I really thought that Wylie showed that he's against this kind of competition, that he could do it. That play right there, I mean, Reddick started getting really, really irritated. You can see he's really good at hand chops and movements and everything else, and is going sideways and turning that corner and things that Wylie has a trouble defending, and Wylie's able to push him to the ground and do what he needs to do there. Of course, I talked the man up on pulling, and then the next time he goes to pull, and, well, this happens. Thankfully for him, they were able to just get in there and get that first down and slide it to one. Ball game's over. Now, coming into this free agency period, I really wanted the Washington Commanders to jump right in and deal with this issue on the offensive line. Quite obviously, it was perhaps the major, fatal flaw, so to speak, on that offense last year, along with the play calling and a few things here or there. So I was hopeful that they were going to, spend some real money and try to take care of the issue. I do know how Ron Rivera is. I realize that he is a tightwad when it comes to free agency. I realize that he thinks that he can get these prove-it deals all the time. I realize that he may have knocked one kind of out of the park with Wes Schweitzer, so that kind of gives him this thought pattern that he could continue to do it. So when they went out and signed Andrew Wylie, who will be 29 years old when the 2023 season starts, to a 3-year, $24 million contract, I was kind of skeptic a little bit. I really wanted to watch the film before I threw judgment down on a guy who in 2022 gave up 9 sacks and 42 pressures, And then I started looking at his contract, and it's set for him to make only $4.1 million in 2023, which is nothing comparative to other guys. That's what his cap hit will be. And then in 24, it'll be $9.4 million, which is still really nothing. It's a little bit more than nothing, but it's still really not a whole lot. And then the third year option goes up, in 2025 goes up to 10.4. But they have a potential out after year 2 that would be something like 2 years, 16.5 million or something like that, with like a 2.66 dead cap hit. And that doesn't actually sound that bad when you think about it. If he does well, and he's the guy that they're able to get some starts out of, and or maybe some depth out of, who knows what's going to happen with that, then it turns out to be maybe a decent move. But this is a guy that has started 59 games for Kansas City since going undrafted out of Eastern Michigan in 2017. And it's obviously a guy that, Eric Bieniemy knows and likes. He brought him in here knowing what he did last year, knowing what he did the years before. In those 59 starts in Kansas City, he gave up 19 total sacks. Last year, he played almost 1,100 snaps at right tackle, and he started in his career now at both guards and at the tackle spot. What I noticed was a guy that he just did not look comfortable in that tackle spot. Maybe it's the fact that Mahomes moves around a lot, and he's not one of those tackles that has those long arms, or there is really good, getting out on his feet and kind of getting wide, or whatever the case may be. He's just not good on the edge of that offense. And that bothers me when you think that this is an offense that's going to be trying to do things. They run the ball a lot. So if he can't cover the edge over there and he needs to move or slide inward, then that kind of creates this issue over there at right tackle that we already were talking about with Sam Cosmi. Is this guy in the same situation as Sam Cosmi is? And if he is, then why don't we now have 2 guys that could kick in the guard? I'm all about the position versatility, but we got to have somebody eventually that starts over there at right tackle. I guess they could draft somebody and then perhaps maybe slide, somebody else to the left guard. Maybe Cosmi slides to the right guard. They draft somebody, and you slide Wylie over to the left guard. Who knows? I do realize that bringing Wylie in, if he doesn't play at tackle, he gives you more options on the interior line, although I think maybe that's a little bit of money to just be thrown around to maybe find the guy that you're perhaps looking for, maybe find the guy you're looking for. But I digress. I feel like there were indeed better options, but for the money they had to spend, this might be the one for them. So we'll see how it works out. At any rate, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave me a like and let me know what you're thinking down in the comments too. Y'all take it easy. Peace.